Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is a weekend review without the usual setting. Now, offhand, first and foremost, if this gets more cuts than a usual video, and by more cuts I mean more than one, well, more than zero is more than a usual video, and that's because I'm outside, everyone else is asleep, and people may interrupt, and I'm not going to throw them on camera against their will, so I'll cut this video as I need to, and we'll figure that part out. Past that, if you're wondering where I am, I said it here and there. I know I've said it on Patreon, I may not have said it on the main channel, I don't know, but right now I just went on a trip. I went on a trip to visit Professor Meg, who I've been doing Twitch stuff with, Camp Co-op and all that, and then from there, both of us went ahead and went straight to Arkansas, to Devon Talks Tabletop, to hang out with him. We surprised him. Well, that's not entirely true. He knew I was coming, he didn't know Meg was coming, and we've been having fun the past day and a half, or the past day really. I've lost track of time. By the time you watch this, the past 2.5 days. Honestly, by the time you watch this, I'm hopefully back home in Cleveland. Hopefully. We'll see. Maybe. Assuming things didn't go horrifically wrong. Assuming I didn't get trapped at the airport, or honestly, I'm flying Delta. I don't know about you guys. I've been seeing all these headlines of oh, Delta passengers offered $10,000 to bump their flight. If I get offered $10,000, I'm taking it. If I get offered, I talked to my wife already, we agreed anything over $1,500, and I'm taking it. I'm going to be just wherever for the whole weekend, because we'll figure it out. But $1,500 is not a small amount of money, and I don't mind bumping a flight for that. I assume I'm back in Cleveland. I'm just letting you know. I don't know what happens by the time you watch this video. I'll let you know in the future. We can review next week. We'll find out. We'll figure it all out. Anyways, this weekend review is not going to follow the usual format of my weekend reviews in the slightest. The usual format of the weekend reviews, which you probably know if you've shown up here in the past, is I talk about game news, I talk about news. I usually go news, then game news. Then I talk about the topic of the week, the games I played, the schedule, or the videos I filmed last week, so you can get a bit of an update of oh, I filmed this, I did that, all those things. And then finally I go into, well, the games on the table, videos upcoming next week, stuff like that. It's a combination of informative news and just a whole bunch of stuff around what's going on with me. And that's not going to be this video, because I thought I was going to do the weekend review together with Devin and Meg. I thought I was. Turns out I'm probably not going to, or more specifically, I'll rephrase that as, we're having too much fun doing other things that we're not prioritizing video content, which obviously is a part of all our channels. We all do content, but we're having too much fun that I don't want to force a necessary video on them. So I'm doing this instead. We tentatively have plans to do other things, absolutely. We hope to be on video in multiple ways, just I have a fun little game show plan. We'll see. Maybe they happen, maybe they don't. But I didn't want anything to be an obligation. So I'm doing this video for the channel, the weekend review, the regular kind of system, and anything that's fun we'll do separately. It's a weird balance. I have a vlog of this trip as well, or I will have a vlog of this trip, the same way I do with any trip. But my balance, first and foremost, should always be fun first and content second. As soon as it's content first and fun second, the fun will slowly trail off and disappear, which I've talked about in other videos to a degree. And maybe that'll be the subject of this conversation. Honestly, I don't know what it's going to be. I thought this was going to be a 5-minute video. We're already 3 minutes in, and I can probably keep going. I don't mind doing that. I got my Starbucks little double shot. This is my I don't know what time people are getting up and I need coffee in the morning situation that I got going. I may go out and get coffee too, because I'm crazy like that. But the point is that the trip's been a lot of fun so far. Again, we'll talk more in the vlog, but even the vlogs only cut and paste little sections here and there. And even the vlogs, different. It's like throwing on a camera. The way it works, which is a little off-putting, but it's also nice because you get memories, and I've talked about this as well. Most of the things apparently I've talked about. But the vlog is you're sitting there playing Crokinole, and you're flick, I'm having fun, everyone's laughing, and then you're vlog, and then you go, oh yeah, we're having fun, everyone, blah, 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 and it's a little forced, a little fake. It's great for memories. It's like smiling for a photo. The smile is suddenly forced instead of natural, but it results in a nice photo, and then the photo results in nice memories, and I like the memories. That's my goal with vlog stuff. Anyways, back to the concept of fun, content creation, all those things. As many of you know, I quit my job what is it now, July? 3 months ago. I quit my job 3 months ago. Mid-April was my last day. I don't remember the exact date. I'd have to check. And it's been good. I'm very happy. I'm very appreciative. I'm very grateful. I think I did a video this past week talking about that, and I'm always appreciative. And that's not overly the focus today. But to a certain extent, it also is an interesting conversation, because leaving a job, leaving something you've been doing day in, day out for the past 8 years or so, I see someone in the situation over there. They might come out. I don't know. You can come out. I'm waving. We'll see if they actually do. There might be a cut now, which is fine. So we'll see how things go. But, hello? No, they're not coming out. What's up? I may go get some in a second. We'll see. Either way, going back to what I was saying, doing something for 8 years, non-stop, does result in a degree of a loss of focus, a drift when you stop. This is true for anything. This is true if you've been in a long relationship. This is true if you've been in a long job. This is true if you move. This is true when you have kids. This is true when kids move out. This is true, I don't know about that one. My kids haven't moved out. Hypothetically, this is true when kids move out. Whenever you have a drift or adjustment in your life, it does result in things changing, in you having a drift, in you having an adjustment. And that does mean that sometimes priorities change to a degree. In my case, the entire way I approach board games I felt like it has shifted to a large degree. I love games, make no mistake. Nothing about that's going anywhere. And not to force it, not to force it. If I found that I didn't love games anymore, I'd be like, well, that was a terrible time to leave a job, and I'd deal with it. I'd figure it out. But I'm not going to force a love for a thing on the thing. It's the other way around, actually. Like, one thing I've talked about to a certain degree is, do I want to do, like, video game content? And the answer is no. Video game content is a larger audience, but my interest in video games is smaller than my interest in board games. So it's just lesser so. It's lesser of an interest, and I'm not willing to heavily devote myself to content in video games because I just don't know if my interest is up enough that it would be for the content and not for it would be for the games and not for the content. And I always want it to be games first. Not specifically for any reason other than the fact that I'm worried if it wasn't, I wouldn't enjoy it as much. And so anyways, going back to this conversation, going back to here, I have found, I guess going back to this conversation, my point is I still love board games, but my approach to it has certainly shifted. My interest in new things has gone down a little bit. My interest in old things is going up a bit. And that's a waxing and waning of the hobby in general. Those things always will change, and that's fine. Whether you're a content creator or a regular consumer of board games, I think those things are fine. I think there's always a drift and an adjustment. Stuff happen. In my case, I'm just trying to find campaign games. I got Oaths one recently. I'm looking forward to diving into that. I'm very excited to dive into Madara. Cloudspire is one I'm hoping to dive into more. Gloomhaven we're actively diving into. And one of these shifts is being on Twitch, which I mentioned already, that the idea that I'm doing more campaign plays and more reinvesting into the same games again and again and again. Now I'm still playing new games a lot, still enjoying them a lot, but there's a little bit less of a chase for the new. I find that I've been backing fewer and fewer Kickstarters as I try to chase the old rather than chasing the new, as I find myself less enamored with new things, which does result in potential changes to the content. Not a ton, actually, because going back to the very beginning, this was never started as a review channel. This wasn't Board Game Co., the channel you're watching right now, never started as reviews. It started as talking about board games and talking about the nature of the hobby and the side peripheral things, almost things like this conversation to a degree. But then from there, over time, I started talking about Kickstarters, and then from there, I started getting prototypes to cover for like reviews of prototypes, or previews, or whatever you want to call them, and then from there I started doing review content. It took a long time before I started doing the amount of review content I did, because it was never my goal. Now it is good content, someone's coming out now, so I'm going to pause this, we'll be right back, and I'll see you in a second. So this is a far cry from the conversation we were having earlier this morning when we got so rudely interrupted, and it's a conversation that is accompanied by a bit of alcohol, which is a relevant part of this conversation. You see, I'm gonna sit. Give me a second here to get comfortable. But basically, the short version of things is that we're in the middle of a conversation. We're going to continue that conversation as much as I possibly can, and when I say possibly can, I mean that to the best of my knowledge, I have never been drunk. To the best of my knowledge. I don't know for a fact anything, because how do you know if you have or haven't been drunk? That's a conversation that I've never really been able to establish with others who have gotten drunk. What's the line? How do you know? I don't know. What I do know is I have been tipsy in the past. I've gotten to that point where you lean in a bit to the madness. It's almost like Cthulhu Death May Die, where you're like, lean into the madness, give yourself a little bit of room to breathe, or whatever they say, and I'm definitely there at the moment. The relevance is that I started this video 12 hours ago, 15 hours ago this morning, and it's not this morning anymore, and I'm drinking, and I don't usually drink, but I have been drinking a bit, so I may not continue the exact thread of the conversation as it were this morning. I may act a bit different, which is fine, that happens. I hope I act with enough self-control that this footage is usable, because if it isn't, well, I won't use it. Either way, what's the point? The point of the conversation is, this morning I left off on the idea that I was on a bit of a journey. I was figuring things out with the channel. I don't know where the conversation was going. This has nothing to do with me being tipsy. This has to do with the fact that this was 15 hours ago, and I don't remember where the conversation left off. But as a channel, I had started doing review content, Kickstarter preview content, covering games, and this channel was never meant to be about reviews. And I started leaning into the reviews as I did more Kickstarter content. And then I started drifting away from Kickstarter only because I didn't want to only cover Kickstarter content. I wanted to cover other things, and so I covered retail games a lot, and I've shifted more and more over the years to retail games. That was where this conversation was going this morning. Right now, the channel consists of a few things. It consists of regular, consistent videos that are either weekly or monthly. So every Saturday, for instance, we have our week in review, which is this video in theory, but not actually this video, because this video is completely breaking the usual format. Every Monday, we have our to back or not to back, where we go over Kickstarter games. And if there's not enough Kickstarter games, we do something else Kickstarter adjacent in some way. The worst 10 games I backed, the best 10 games I backed, something along those lines. Every month we have multiple series. We have a series for last month in review. We have a series for what we backed the prior month. We have what games leave in the collection that month. We have deluxeified games. We have, I don't know, other games. The games, I'm currently going through a game a day challenge where we cover those things. Those are all the things that are present in the monthly videos that go around. Every Tuesday and Saturday we have review content that goes up. Occasionally and infrequently and inconsistently we have unboxings. So there's all these different content that goes on the channel, and that's Devin behind me, possibly Meg, deciding that they think it's funny to interrupt my video with noises and wails in the background, which it might be funny, honestly, but I'm drinking, so what do I care? So in any case, going back to this conversation, they may interrupt. They're welcome to come in. I don't really care. This is Week in Review in the least structured format of Week in Review I've ever possibly had, so if people decide to crash the party, people decide to crash the party, and I will deal with that. Give me a second to finish this. Or start the process of finishing it, as it were. Anyways, point is that as time has gone on, the channel has evolved, things have changed, and the things I like doing have changed also. Recently, and I mentioned this in a few videos recently I've been doing a little less playing new games. And that means that I can't review 5 games a week if I'm not playing at least 5 games a week, and playing 5 games a week multiple times per game. And so that makes it harder. If I'm playing fewer new games, then it makes it harder to keep up with those review contents. And so I have a few options on the table. One of the options on my end is the fact that I might replace some of those reviews, maybe even just one a week, with an unboxing instead. Unboxings that were usually extra content might become part of the week in review. That is entirely possible. It's a way to keep the same schedule without adjusting around the content. My goal will always be keeping my interest in the hobby fresh and interesting and level-headed and loving what I do. That is always going to be my goal. Ignore the part of me that's currently just a tad tipsy. But the relevance now is that this week has been very cathartic for me. Cathartic's a good thing, right? I think cathartic's a good thing. That sounds like a good thing. I'm pretty sure it's a good word. This week has been just me spending time with people I like, people whose company that I enjoy, people who add more energy to who I am. And I haven't necessarily done as much playing of games as I thought. I certainly haven't filmed as many videos as I thought might happen. I think I filmed like 2 videos. I've enjoyed them. They're great videos. I mean, I don't know why I said they're great videos. I like the videos. I do. But this week has been about spending time with friends. This week has been about recharging my batteries. And if you've been following the channel at all and you're like, recharging what batteries? Didn't you just go full time? Didn't you just leave a job? Absolutely, yes, but that has pros and cons. I threw myself heavily into further content creation. That whole aspect of being on Twitch, being on Camp Co-op, of playing games on a regular schedule. I went from doing 0 live videos a week. I did a live video every 4 months, like at best. That's how often I did live content. Now I do a live video every single Wednesday on the channel. This past week was Thursday because I was traveling. Only so much I can do on an airplane. But past that, I'm also doing live content every Sunday, every Tuesday night, every Thursday night, every Wednesday night, and every Thursday morning. I'm doing like 5 other live streams a week. Live content takes it out of me. Not from the content itself, the playing of the games, I enjoy that part, but the setting up, the making sure you're on schedule, on time, making sure things go well. You know what happens if I don't, like this video got interrupted, right? It wasn't live. Who cares? I come back 15 hours later and I finish it. Granted, that usually doesn't happen, but still, I have that flexibility. There's no stress, no decision, no nothing around it. I can't do that if it's live content. Live content adds a degree of stress to the way I interact. Not bad stress, just stress I have to adjust and acclimate to. The downside of being tipsy is the edge cases, not the rest. And so I'm figuring things out constantly. But my goal will be fun first. My goal will always be fun first. I want to love the thing that I'm talking about. If I'm going to sit here and talk to you about the fact that I like this game, I love that game, I'm not keeping this game, I want to be in love with the hobby, and I still am. I'm just constantly adjusting the ways and the flows in which I am in love with the hobby. I'm so excited. Today, you know what's nice about the last 15 hours? I've played, I can't remember the name of it. I played Mind Management a few times today. That's excellent. I love Mind Management. Granted, I still haven't played with the app. I need to do so, but I love Mind Management. It is such a great game, and it's so nice to both introduce people to it who haven't played before and to continue playing it. It is such a fun experience. I really liked it. I played Railroad Express, I think that's the name. Again, Tipsy has its price point. But I played Railroad Express, I believe, which was really interesting. I need to play it more with other players with a higher player count. I only played it at 2 so far. I want to try different player counts before I review it. But I really enjoyed the aspects of it. Well, just to be very clear, I really enjoyed it not the same way I enjoyed Mind Management. There's different categories of games. Mind Management is one of the best games in my collection. Railroad Express was a fun little puzzle. But I'll be reviewing that at some point soon. There's a current Kickstarter, and so I wanted to cover that. But I'm still in love with the hobby. I'm still in love with aspects of the hobby, with the people in the hobby, with the games in the hobby. I'm still having a lot of fun. The only real point is this channel was never created to be about reviews. And if I have to stop reviewing games to enjoy the channel, I'll do so. I'm not stopping reviewing games, at least not yet. I'm still very much enjoying what I do. I'm just cognizant of the fact that it has to be fun first and foremost. There are a variety of games that I still plan on playing. I think we're setting up to play Dice Throne right now. Yes, there's more than 2 of us, but we'll figure it out. We'll take turns. We'll do what we need to do. Or I'll just continue filming. They were supposed to be playing Dice Throne while I was filming. It's not happening, so I'll finish filming and I'll do what I need to do. This is not your usual weekend review, not in the slightest. I don't have the schedule. I don't have the videos I covered this past week. I don't have any of that. I'm sorry for that. This was a choice I made that I didn't know exactly how things would or wouldn't play out today, and I didn't want to force scheduled, certain, fixed content on what is otherwise an incredibly enjoyable vacation for myself. So I figured I'll change it up. I'll do this. I'll have this conversation, the conversation outside this morning, following it up with here, just the nature of a conversation while I sit here and have fun with my friends. Friends. Friends first and foremost. I'm grateful. I've said this past week, if you watched this video this week, it's been a bit about this stuff. I'm still finding myself, and I know that sounds vague and lost and weird and strange. Like, finding yourself, what does that mean? It means I left a job. It means I've changed my entire life. My entire life is changing. That's not the question. I'm figuring out how my new life adjusts and fits into all of that. And I'm just figuring out the details and the schedule and all those things. And having a week like this has been cathartic, which I still think is the right word. It's been nice to hang out with my friends. It's been nice to play games. It's been nice to sit down and just talk. They're sitting there in the other room talking right now instead of playing a game, and I have a little bit of FOMO, a little bit of fear of missing out of the conversation and what interesting aspects of the conversation I'm missing out on, because this entire week has been interesting conversations. This entire week has been fun with friends. I don't know how this video comes off. I don't know the read on myself. Again, I'm still finishing the stream over here. Done. I don't know what happens next at all in this video, in the next week, in the next month, the next 2 years. I don't know. I know that I am appreciative of many of you, most of you, all of you, and I'm having a fun time. The other details can be figured out. And that's your weekend review. A little wishy-washy, a little vague, a little all over the place. Much of my content is. This one just has even less focus than usual because of the nature of the time, the situation, and all of that. I hope you enjoyed this video in some way, shape, and form. I hope it in some way felt Board Game Co. adjacent. I don't know what Tipsy Alex really feels like. Worst case scenario, I'll watch this footage in the morning and refilm it. Worst case scenario. But if I come across as halfway competent as a human being, I'll probably keep it. And so with that, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this. And as always, have a good one.